I'm standing behind the counter at a small pharmacy in Byron Bay when this American guy, maybe mid-30s, stumbles in looking pale. He's holding his ankle. "I need antivenom," he says, dead serious. Right now, I look at his ankle. There's a small red mark, like a mosquito bite. "What bit you?" I ask. "A huntsman spider," he whispers. It was huge, like the size of my hand. I try not to smile. "Sir, huntsman spiders aren't venomous." "Well, technically they are, but not to humans." "You'll be fine," he stares at me. "But it's Australian. Everything here kills you." I decode moments like this all the time. The clash between perception and reality, especially when it comes to life in Australia. If that kind of truth-over-myth storytelling is your speed, you'll want to subscribe. That's literally what this channel exists for. I sell him a tube of antihistamine cream. He buys 3 tubes, just in case. That same week, I'm working the late shift when an American family rushes in. The mom is frantic. "Do you have those UV lights?" she asks. "The ones that detect scorpions?" "We're in coastal New South Wales." "Ma'am, we don't really have scorpions here." She pulls out her phone, shows me an article titled Australia's 20 Most Deadly Creatures. It's one of those clickbait lists. "We're staying in a beach house," she explains. "I need to check under the beds before my kids sleep." I tell her the biggest danger at the beach is sunburn. She buys the UV light anyway. It's actually a blackhead detector for skin care, but I don't have the heart to tell her. 2 days later, a college-aged girl comes in asking for that shot. "Which shot?" I ask. "The one for drop bears," she says. I blink. "Sorry, what?" "My Uber driver told me about them. He said they fall from trees and attack tourists. He said there's a vaccine." Oh, for crying out loud. Some local had told her the old drop bear joke. She'd believed every word. "They're not real," I say gently. "Drop bears are made up. It's a prank we play on tourists." She looks relieved, then suspicious. "But what about the sharks?" "Those are definitely real," I admit. She buys waterproof band-aids for shark attacks. I don't ask questions, but that was just the beginning. See, I've worked at this pharmacy for 4 years now, right in the heart of tourist country. And every summer, Americans arrive with the same fear in their eyes. They've done their research. They've watched the documentaries. They know Australia is trying to kill them. What they don't know is which parts are actually dangerous. That's the pattern I track. Not the creatures, but the psychology. Fear, misinformation, and how culture shapes both. I unpack that in every episode, so if you want the version of Australia most people miss, subscribe and stay inside the story. I'm restocking vitamins when this American businessman, maybe 50 years old, approaches the counter. He's wearing a suit in 30-degree heat. "I need medical attention," he announces. "I was bitten by a snake." My manager, Sarah, appears immediately. "Snake bites are serious. Where were you bitten?" "The park across the street. I was taking a work call." "What did it look like?" He pulls out his phone, shows us a photo of a blue-tongue lizard. Sarah exhales slowly. "Sir, that's a lizard. They don't bite unless you grab them. And they're not venomous." "But it had blue in its mouth," he insists. "That means poison." "That's just their tongue," I explain. "It's a defense mechanism. They're actually pretty chill." He doesn't look convinced. We call the local wildlife rescue anyway. They confirm it was definitely a blue tongue. The guy leaves, still checking his phone for symptoms of lizard poisoning. 3 weeks later, I'm working the register when an American couple in their 60s rushes in. The wife is holding a plastic container. "We trapped it," she says breathlessly. "Can you identify it?" Inside the container is a common garden skink, about the length of my finger, looking very confused. "We found it in our rental," the husband explains. "We Googled Australian reptiles, and it looks like an eastern brown snake baby." I lean closer. The skink looks back at me with tiny, innocent eyes. "That's a skink," I say. "They eat bugs." "They're harmless. Are you sure?" the wife asks. Because we barricaded ourselves in the bedroom for an hour? I'm very sure. We release it outside. It disappears into the bushes immediately, probably traumatized. The couple buys insect repellent. I don't mention that skinks actually help control the insect population. A backpacker, American accent, maybe 22 years old, comes in next morning. She's got her arm wrapped in a beach towel. "I think I got stung," she says, "by a box jellyfish. My blood runs cold. Box jellyfish are actually deadly." "Where? When?" "About 20 minutes ago. At the beach." We unwrap the towel. Her arm is red and irritated, but there are no tentacle marks. No welts, just general redness. "Did you see the jellyfish?" Sarah asks. "No, but my arm started burning after I went in the water." Sarah nods slowly. "Did you put on sunscreen?" The girl pauses. No, I forgot. It's sunburn. Just regular sunburn made worse by salt water." We give her aloe vera and a gentle reminder that box jellyfish season is winter, not summer. "And they're up north, near Queensland, not down here." She seems disappointed, like she wanted the story of surviving a box jellyfish. That afternoon, a guy around 30 comes in holding a jar. Inside is a small brown spider. "Whitetail," he says confidently. "I need the antibiotic cream for the necrosis." Whitetail spiders don't actually cause necrosis. That's a myth that won't die. But I've learned not to argue. "Did it bite you?" I ask. "No, but I want to be prepared." He's been in Australia for 3 days. He's staying at a hostel. He's seen 4 spiders. He's convinced one of them will eventually get him. I sell him the cream. Also some spider repellent spray. And a book about Australian wildlife that actually explains what's dangerous and what's not. He flips to the spider section immediately. Starts reading with the intensity of someone studying for finals. Later that week, an American dad comes in with his teenage son. The kid's hand is swollen. "Stingray?" the dad asks hopefully. "Where'd this happen?" Sarah asks. "The rock pools." He was climbing around. She examines the hand. "This looks like an allergic reaction to something he touched." Turns out the kid had grabbed a rock covered in sea anemones. Not dangerous, just irritating. We give him antihistamine and cortisone cream. "So not a stingray," the dad says, sounding almost disappointed. "Stingrays stay in sandy areas," Sarah explains, "and they usually swim away from people." The kid perks up. "What about stonefish?" "Wrong part of Australia," I tell him. "Those are tropical. They leave with cream and Band-Aids." On the way out, I hear the dad say, "Well, at least you can say you got hurt by Australian wildlife." Close enough, I guess. My co-worker Jake is working one Saturday when an American woman, maybe 45, comes in with a list. An actual printed list. "I need supplies," she announces, "for bushwalking." The list includes 3 types of anti-venom, bear spray, a snakebite kit, water purification tablets, emergency flares, and a satellite phone. "How long's your walk?" Jake asks carefully. 2 hours. The coastal track. The coastal track is paved. There are cafes every few kilometers. You can see the ocean the whole time. Jake manages to explain that anti-venom isn't sold over the counter, that we don't have bears, that the tap water is perfectly safe. She compromises by buying a first aid kit, sunscreen, and a very expensive water bottle. 2 American college students come in the next day. They're heading to Tasmania. "Do they have outlets there?" one asks. "Like for phone chargers?" I stare at him. "Tasmania is part of Australia. It's not a different country." "Oh." He looks embarrassed. "I thought it was, like, really remote." His friend jumps in. "What about ATMs?" "They have cities," I say slowly. "Hobart has like 200,000 people." They seem relieved. Then the first guy asks about the Tasmanian tiger. "They're extinct," I tell him, "since 1936. But what if I see one?" He persists. I don't know how to respond to that. Jake sells them a Tasmania guidebook. An American retiree couple comes in asking about crocodile repellent. For where? I ask. Sydney, the wife says. We're in Byron Bay. Sydney is hours south. Neither place has crocodiles. Crocodiles are in the far north, I explain. Like Cairns and above. Tropical areas. The husband pulls out a map of Australia. Points to Sydney. So this is safe? From crocodiles, yes. Very safe. They're heading down to Sydney next week for a harbor cruise. They were genuinely worried about crocodiles in the harbor. I show them pictures of Sydney Harbor on my phone. The Opera House, the ferries, the complete absence of crocodiles. They finally relax. But they still buy a waterproof phone case. Just in case? I'm organizing the diabetes supplies when I hear raised voices. An American guy, maybe 28, is arguing with Sarah. I need antibiotics, he's saying. For the infection. We need a prescription for antibiotics, Sarah repeats patiently. You'll have to see a doctor. In America, I can just buy them, he insists. This isn't true. Sarah knows it's not true. I know it's not true, but he seems convinced. Sir, even in America, antibiotics require a prescription, Sarah says carefully. He pulls out his phone. Starts Googling. His face slowly changes as he realizes she's right. Oh, he mutters. I was thinking of Mexico. Sarah directs him to the medical clinic next door. He leaves, embarrassed. 10 minutes later, he's back with a prescription. For a normal bacterial infection from a surfboard scratch. Nothing tropical, nothing exotic, just regular bacteria that exists everywhere. The doctor said I should have just washed it properly, he admits. No deadly Australian microbes. Progress. That same afternoon, a backpacker girl from California comes in laughing. She's with her Australian friend. Tell them, the Australian girl says, grinning. The American explains, I spent 3 weeks being terrified of everything, checking my shoes for spiders, avoiding the ocean, refusing to hike. And then, I prompt. Then I stepped on a bee in my hostel. A regular bee. That's what got me. She shows me her foot, slightly swollen. Nothing dramatic. Could have happened anywhere, she says. California, Australia, wherever. I spent so much energy worrying about sharks and snakes that I forgot about normal stuff. We sell her antihistamine. Her friend is still laughing. A dad around 40 comes in looking sheepish. His daughter, maybe 10 years old, is with him. I need to apologize, he starts. I came in 2 weeks ago freaking out about drop bears. I remember. He'd been very concerned. My daughter did a school project, he continues. She learned they're not real. I've been telling all my Facebook friends to watch out for them. The daughter rolls her eyes. Dad posted pictures with warnings and everything. He shows me his phone. There are indeed several posts about the dangers of drop bears with tips for avoiding them. His friends have been taking it seriously. Should I tell them? He asks. Let them figure it out, I suggest. The daughter buys a postcard with a koala on it. No mention of its dropping habits. An American couple in their 20s comes in holding hands. They're on their honeymoon. We did something dumb, the wife admits. They'd gone snorkeling. Beautiful reef, clear water, lots of fish. Then they saw a small octopus. The husband had picked it up. It was blue, he says. Really pretty blue rings. My stomach drops. A blue-ringed octopus? Yeah, but it didn't bite me, he says quickly. It just swam away. They don't understand. Blue-ringed octopuses have enough venom to kill 26 adults. There's no antivenom. If it had bitten him, he'd have maybe minutes. Sarah explains this very carefully, very seriously. The color drains from his face. I thought the dangerous ones would be big. Some of the deadliest things here are tiny, Sarah says. That's the actual rule. They sit down on the bench outside. The wife looks like she might cry. The husband just stares at his hand. They come back in 10 minutes later. Buy the wildlife book. Promise to read it cover to cover before touching anything else. Later that week, a businesswoman around 50 comes in. She's been in Australia for a month now. I have a confession, she says. I almost didn't come here for work. Because of the spiders. I wait. But I've seen maybe 3 spiders total, she continues. And they were all outside, minding their own business. What were you expecting? I ask. Honestly, I thought they'd be everywhere. In my hotel room, in restaurants, just constantly there. She laughs at herself now. Says she told all her colleagues back in Seattle that Australia was like living in a horror movie. What's the actual scariest thing you've encountered? I ask, she thinks. The magpies during swooping season. Those birds are mean. Finally, someone with the right priorities. An American tour guide comes in on his day off. He's been living here for 2 years now. You know what's wild, he says. I spend half my time telling American tourists that Australia isn't that dangerous. The other half explaining which things are actually dangerous. Like? I prompt, like the sun. Nobody takes the sun seriously. They're worried about funnel webs, but they won't wear sunscreen. He's right. We see more sun damage than spider bites, more heat exhaustion than snake encounters. Or the rips, he continues. Ocean rips kill tourists every year, but people are too busy looking for sharks. He buys sunscreen in bulk. Says he hands it out on tours now. My favorite story happened last month. An American family came in, parents in their 40s with 2 teenagers. They'd been in Australia for 3 weeks. We need to tell you something, the mom started. We were so scared before we came here. The dad nodded. We watched every documentary, read every article. We had a whole emergency plan. We packed snake bandages, one teenager added, and downloaded a venomous spider identification app. And? I asked. Nothing happened, the mom said. Not one dangerous thing. We saw kangaroos, koalas, some lizards, all from a safe distance, all completely chill. We did see a spider in our rental, the dad admitted. It was in the corner. We named it Steve. It ate the mosquitoes. The teenagers showed me pictures. Steve was indeed a huntsman, doing his job. So what actually happened? I asked. I got bitten, the younger teenager said, by a possum at a wildlife park, because I tried to pet it. They showed me the incident report from the park. Minor bite, properly cleaned, no infection. The possum was fine. The teenager had learned about respecting wildlife boundaries. The ranger told us possums bite tourists constantly, the mom said, because people try to cuddle them. The family was heading home the next day. They'd had an amazing trip, saw incredible wildlife, learned about conservation, made memories, and their biggest injury was from trying to hug a cranky marsupial. We're telling everyone back home the truth, the dad said. Australia isn't trying to kill you. You just have to use common sense. I sold them some last-minute souvenirs, koala magnets, kangaroo keychains, nothing involving drop bears. As they left, the mom turned back. Thank you for being patient with all of us confused Americans. It's part of the job, I said, because it is. Every summer, they arrive with their fears and their misconceptions and their absolute certainty that Australia is one giant death trap. And every summer, they leave having survived perfectly well. The dangerous stuff? It's mostly avoidable. Don't pick up unknown animals. Don't swim in closed areas. Wear sunscreen. Watch where you step. Basic common sense that applies anywhere. The rest is just good stories. And these stories, they never stop coming. Next week, summer season starts again. The flights from LAX will arrive packed with tourists, and at least 3 of them will ask me about drop bears. If you want to be the kind of traveler who actually gets Australia, not the one asking about drop bears, this is where you stay ahead. Every story here strips away the myths and leaves you with the real Australia. Subscribe, and you won't miss the next one. I should probably feel bad about keeping that myth alive. But honestly, if you come to Australia terrified of imaginary creatures instead of respecting the actual risks, maybe you need the practice. Besides, Steve the huntsman spider didn't move to Byron Bay just to be misunderstood.